Hello, welcome back. It's Fred in the Shed up in the Radio Shack, and another little CB coming from Radioddity to show you. And this is about as cheap as it gets. This CB radio sells for £50 in the UK, and before I open the box I already know it's going to be a good radio. How do I know that? Well, stick with the video and I'll tell you. How on earth do I know this is going to be a cracking little radio before I open the box? Well, this CB-27 Pro, I checked on the website, is exactly the same as the CRT One Version V, the latest version. That is no stranger to me, that radio. I've copied loads of people on the 305. 4-watt Paul, for example, came on the big net on a CRT One. Lovely audio on him. Jez the Viking strapped one to his bicycle. I know he did, he really did, and went all around Hertfordshire on a bike with a CRT One. Again, cracking audio. So we know the CRT One is a good radio. The latest version, which is the CRT version 1V, and this Pro version, it has a Vox feature. That's become very important recently in the UK because the police have tightened up on what you can and can't use whilst driving a car. Now, using a CB radio does come under the taxi law, and that means you can hold a microphone in your hand, but it's a very grey area if you get pulled over. So thankfully they've improved that, and the Pro version does have Vox, a hand-free function. Without further ado, let's just quickly crack into the box. I don't like box opening videos myself. And straight away, we've got a very nice, clear instruction manual. Let me just go through some of the features on this radio, then we'll have a look at the radio itself. Thankfully, this is a very basic radio to use, perfect to get started with. Just AM and FM, of course. You won't get a sideband radio for £50, but don't let that put you off, because it does have 9 bands, which covers all of the UK and the European channels, including USA. That works out something like 350 odd channels in total. Radio cover has a manual and auto squelch feature, RF gain control, the very important voice activated Vox feature, and also a scan control to save you flicking through the channels manually. Inside the box we have the transceiver radio itself. I mean, these things are absolutely tiny. They really are small. Incredibly, it's just 10 centimetres by 10.4 centimetres and 2.5 centimetres or 1 inch thick. Weighs about 250 grams, so it's again ideal if you were thinking of using this for DX. Now, one thing I will say straight away, and I do wish they'd changed this, it's the same with this latest CRT radio, it does come with a fixed microphone plug. Unfortunately, that means you can't swap out the mic. Maybe you might want to put a power microphone on, especially if you're going to use it mobile. The model before this, which is available on the Radioddity website, it's about the same price. That does have a removable microphone. I'm not quite sure why they've gone backwards on that. However, in saying that, you're probably not going to want to swap it out, because it comes with what I consider a very high quality microphone. Now, next to this, you can see I've got my CRT 9900, and as you can see, that has the same microphone, and this M9 microphone, I've always had a good audio report on it, to the point that I've never even considered changing that from the CRT 9900. So yeah, it does ship with what should be, we'll find out when we go on to air, what should be a very good microphone. So you probably wouldn't change it anyway, but I kind of wish they'd just put a 6-pin mic plug in. That solves that problem. Okay, let's move on then. Power line. Oh, that's good. Look, it comes with a standard 12-volt auxiliary socket plug. It used to be called a cigarette lighter socket plug. I think that's a good thing. I think wish more manufacturers would do this. It just gives you the option that if you are going to take this solely mobile, you can plug this straight into your car. Now, this is only a 4-watt radio. I've tested these before. Maximum this will draw is probably about 1.5 or 2 amps. Most auxiliary sockets in cars nowadays are easily 10, 15, sometimes 20 amps, so that won't be a problem. And of course, if you want to use this at home on a CB power transformer, power supply, just simply cut it off and you've got your bare wires. So that's good to see, especially on such a budget radio. And then finally in the box we get the fitting hardware. We get a metal U-shaped clamp bracket to put it under the dashboard, of course. We get a bag of fixing screws and also a spare fuse, and finally a metal mic bracket. The radio operates exactly the same as a CRT one, and its simplicity itself, it does make it a perfect starting radio. First thing you want to do is select which mode you want or which band you want. As I said, there's 9 different modes on the radio. To do that, hold down the AF key there, switch the radio on. Comes on. By default we are in the UK band. If I want to change that, you just use the up and down keys on the microphone, and then you've got the 9 different modes there, or 9 different bands. Like I say, there's over 350 channels on AM and on FM. We'll stick with the UK for the moment. Switch the radio off, switch the radio on, and then use the AF key here to switch through the different modes, AM and FM. For example, if I press that, there we go, that's the FM UK, that's the AM side of things, and the FM CB, which is the FM Euro block. So you've got 3 different options there straight away. We'll stick with the UK. To change channels on the radio, use again up and down on the microphone, and it's got the 40 UK channels already built in. There's no frequency display unfortunately on the display here, but it has got a signal meter there from 1 to 30, so you are able to give people a signal report. Controls on the radio, there's very little to go through. It's very simple. Have a push button squelch control. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I'm a bit old fashioned. I would have liked a manual squelch. I'm not quite sure where we're going to fit it onto the fascia here, but it's easy enough to use. Just press that once and then use the up and down buttons on the microphone. Turn it off. Goes up to about 5. I mean, it depends on your noise level, but you'll find what you want. I generally have it quite low so that I don't want to miss any distant stations. On this side here we have the RF gain control. Press that once. Maxes out at 48. All the way down to 3. Tends to go up in 3s, I think, which is a bit odd. Personally, I'd have that on maximum unless I was getting a lot of noise, so I'd hear distant stations. And then you've got your obligatory emergency and brake button. Press that once, takes you to channel 9. I'm not sure anyone uses that as an emergency channel in the UK. Press it again, takes you to the brake channel, and then back to your selected channel. Overall, it's dead easy to use. I think one thing they could have improved upon when they did the later version is the volume control. Now, it's nice that you've got a manual volume control. You haven't got to push up and down buttons. I think this could have doubled up maybe as a channel control. Perhaps if you could have pushed it in and it could have become a channel control. It just seems to me quite natural to want to turn that round and flick through the channels. It's fine using the microphone, but I think that would handle like a normal CB radio. Just me maybe being a bit pedantic, but yeah, that would have been quite nice to have that. And I think that's about all I can tell you about the radio. So the proof of the pudding is of course in the eating. So we're going to go on air now. I'm going to go on channel 30 on the Euro mid block 27305 and hopefully capture a couple of the guys on the afternoon net and get a radio report. I've got a feeling already with this M9 microphone it's going to be a cracker. It's going to get a great radio report. So join me on air and let's hear what it sounds like. Oh, okay, yeah, Dan Copper, you got a copy on Fred. I'm on 4 watts.
Yeah, I've been listening there, Fred. Yes, he's very good. 4 watts, just sort of getting over here loud and clear. Radio 5, no problems.
Oh, that's good to hear. You're coming in really nice and loud. It's got a tiny little speaker on it. And what's the signal report to Hatfield, Dan?
Well, with the preamp on, it's 7 and 5. But there's another signal, somebody else trying to come in, I think. Maybe on a different mode. But yeah, when you're loud to, you're coming through 7 and 5, radio 5, loud and clear.
You're sounding very nice and clear on it. Hopefully it'll come out on video. Back to you, Dan.
Yeah, okay, we'll see how the northern accent comes out there, Fred. Well, it sounds like a bargain. If it's reliable, it works. So yeah, very good. Good £50 worth, I think.
Yes, Steph, over in Hemel, do you copy Fred?
Yeah, I've got your Fred. Signal 3. radio 4.
Roger there. Yeah, I've got you coming in at about, well, on this meter about a 5 and a 6, where you was giving me that on sideband. So this is just 4 watts, so literally legal power there. So yeah, not too bad, is it? How's the audio? 1 2 1 2. Is it nice and loud?
Yeah, it's very nice. No, you sound really good on FM, but yeah, it's nice.
Yes, Steph.
How are you getting me on FM?
Yes, yeah, I'm getting a bit of interference from somewhere, but I think it might be local. But yeah, you're coming through fine there, Steph.
Yeah, I'm not using any power here or anything. I'm just running straight out of the box. It's about 20 watts.
Oh yeah, well, you're coming through 5 and 5 with a little bit of interference now and again, but that's not you. That's I'm getting some outside interference from somewhere, Steph.
That's the regulars there, Steph and Dan. That's Hemel Hempstead and Hatfield. That's not too far. It's probably about an 8 mile, 9 mile copy to Steph and about a 6 or 7 mile to Dan. But it's only on 4 watts, of course. And it done really, really well. I knew it would. I mean, once I saw that it had the M9 microphone, I've never heard a bad report from the M9 microphone, or even the CRT One, which is the CB-27 Pro is basically a CRT One. So, I mean, what a great little radio. Seriously, if you're coming back to radio and you haven't got a lot of money to spend and you can't go to a sideband radio, I have, in my other videos, I've always recommended this radio. It's not too hot either, and I've always recommended it, and I still recommend it. So yeah, the Radioddity CB-27 Pro. Now, just on the mod side of things, because I know you're going to ask me about mods, I do know from the CRT, there are mods available for this radio. You do have to go inside, obviously, and you do have to solder jumpers to make the radio higher power. I'm personally going to say I wouldn't bother with this radio. I do know people that have done it on the CRT One, and it has shortened the life of the radio. They've had issues with the finals blowing and things like that. I think I would just leave this one as it is on 4 watts. If you wanted to increase your power, of course, you can always go down the naughty route and fit a small little linear amplifier on the back of it, and I think that's the way forward. But as for the radio, like I say, it's a great little, always been a good radio this, and good report. So this is going to be a keeper in the shack, so look out for this one. You'll see this more and more on videos. I'll leave links to buy this from Radioddity in the description below. I'm not on any commission. I don't work for them. They sent this in as a freebie. Very grateful for that, but that's as far as it goes. And I think that's really about it. So thank you for tuning in to the video. I do appreciate your views. I'm a very small channel, don't get that many views, so thank you to every one of you. There's a thumbs up from Fred in the Shed. If you get a moment, just drop me a thumb up down below. I know then that you appreciate the video and it inspires me to do more. But as for now, as always, cheers, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, look after each other, catch you on the next one.